Hello, King's Church. It's so good to be with you here on the live stream. Just introduce ourselves in case some of you don't recognize us. My name is Graham, and this is my wife, Belinda. For many years, I guess about 15 or 16 years, we were involved in the senior leadership at King's Church in Eastbourne. But now we currently not in the UK, we're actually in Zimbabwe. The borders came down and the flights were cancelled, and so our stay was a little bit extended. Technically, here in Zim, we're actually on day 7 of the lockdown. And how's that going? That's going well. So far, I think we've run out of filter coffee, and we are recycling tea bags. But it's not all bad news. Prior to the lockdown, we were heavily involved in a couple of programs. One called Africa Alive, which was supporting young people establishing micro businesses within community, setting up other businesses. And that this time, Linda going into it in a few moments' time. But actually, food is critical in this country, and so establishing these programs and projects has been so good. And actually, we've just placed first chicks into some of the programs and projects. We're also very involved still with a number of the churches out here in Zimbabwe. But perhaps you could just talk a little bit about actually the impact of the lockdown and why lockdown is here.
Yeah. I guess there's many concerns here in Zimbabwe, but two of the major ones are, first of all, to stop and prevent the spread of the coronavirus. As you guys well know, that actually it spreads so rapidly. So the lockdown has come almost as a preventative thing, which is really good. The concern is that if coronavirus spreads, there is actually very little medical infrastructure here. No hospitals or nurses or doctors really readily available. So it is really vitally important that it is the virus is stopped really, and it doesn't spread. So hence the lockdown. We followed you, I think, about a week after you, but we're now in the lockdown, as Graham has said. So that's good. The difficulty is, at least one second concern, is, as Graham said, about the lack of food and the concern for starvation, because the majority of people here are actual informal traders, which means that people go onto the streets and sell what they grow or what they make. And it's like hand to mouth. They earn money the same day that they then buy the food. And without that, with the informal trading being closed down, it is very difficult for them. And that's a major prayer. We're really praying for the two things, and we'd love you to join us in that. One, that the coronavirus doesn't spread, and two, that actually somehow supernaturally that food, and through God's grace, food is provided and people can survive. We've been in touch with the families from the school that we are supporting and in partnership with. Many of you are in partnership with some of these families, and at the moment they're doing okay. They're in a rural environment, so there is a concern, but they're doing okay, and we will definitely be keeping in touch with them, seeing what we can do.
Great. But it's not all bad news. I guess similar to what's happening in Eastbourne. By the way, we're loving joining you, and in the worship times in the morning are just fantastic, so helpful.
Absolutely
Thank
brilliant.
you guys who are doing that. But we can see within these contexts of what's happening is that creativity comes to the fore, and that is exactly the same here in Zimbabwe. So last Sunday was like the last day of freedom, and then Monday was the first day of lockdown. And within that Sunday and the Monday, a new movement was born, which is so exciting, called Base Dot Movement, and it's young people who are now regularly downloading onto social media platforms. Young people reaching and connecting with other young people here in Zimbabwe. So they're utilising what they've got. They've got the WhatsApp, and they're now up onto Instagram and even onto Spotify and Facebook accounts and things, trying to connect up with not just hundreds, but hopefully thousands of young people during this time. So
presenting the gospel in a way that is accessible to the young people of this generation.
Yeah.
And it's been such a privilege, and something we've so enjoyed, actually coming alongside and kind of mentoring as well as monitoring what goes up, but mentoring these young people in what's up for someone that's the first time they've ever presented the gospel, and definitely the first time they've presented it on this sort of social media platform. So it's really exciting for us.
So
to be
it's really
involved.
good. So thank you for your ongoing support. We love the messages that are coming through. We love that connections. We know that many of you are on the Facebook group Beyond These Walls, or BT Walls. Please go on that. We'd love you to keep in touch with us. But thank you so much, and we look forward to connecting with you again very soon. Okay, bye.
Bye.